We've all heard if you want to make more money, get a side hustle. Take your skills, leverage your skills of the job, the work, the career that you have today and do more of it in your free time. That is, trade your free time for a little bit more money, or go to Upwork or Fiverr, or start driving for Uber or Grubhub. Just start making more money. But what if you don't want to give away your free time? What if you want to do the same job you're doing now, your one job, but get paid more to do it? There is a way. We ignore it. It's obvious. Let's take a look at it. So tap the like button and let's get moving. Hi, I'm James Callahan, and this is The Do-Over Show. And over my working career, I've moved from smaller markets to larger markets to do the same work to get paid more money. And that's the obvious and overlooked thing that all of us can take advantage of, and that is, if you want to do your one job, to have all your free time as yours, but you want to make more money doing it, how do you do it? One answer, one easy answer: move. But in our post-pandemic remote work new normal, we've all learned that it's possible to live in one geographic area but work in another, and to make more money doing it, even a different state. There are even some states that will pay you to move to the middle of nowhere as long as you work remotely and bring in money from another big city. Now, that's possible if you can compete. If you are demonstrably good or better at your job, employers will often give you an opportunity to work remotely, even though they could employ somebody from their geographic, from a zip code that they work in, but they're willing to pay you more because you're better at what you do. If you're that person, if you're better than most in your field, then you have options. If this is you, congratulations. But if it's not, maybe it's time to make a move. Now, it's a problem that most of us don't understand, don't know that we can do the same work we're doing now, the one job that we do and we expect to make a living doing, but we can make more doing it in a different market, usually a major metropolitan market. So let's take a look at the numbers and how it actually adds up. And I'll use a sector that's easy to track because they're publicly funded, and that is public school teachers. For primary grade teachers in the state of Illinois, where I live, thanks to reciprocity, you have moving options. That is, once you get your teaching certificate, your Pell, you can actually teach in every other state except for Alaska, Iowa, and Minnesota. Yeah, all the other states you can move to, and your teacher's license from the state of Illinois will get you a job in those markets. But if you stay in Illinois, or you want to stay in Illinois because you just love the land of Lincoln, then you're already in the second highest paying market for teachers in the United States. Which is great news, because that means you're not in the lowest paying markets like Hawaii. Although there is a trade-off because of the weather. But still, Hawaii? That's only part of the story, because in each state there is a divide, a gap between lowest wages and highest wages depending on your geographic region in the state, whether you're rural or whether you're in a major metropolitan city. The same degree, the same license in the state of Illinois for a teacher can range from a starting salary of $56,665 in CPS, or the Chicago Public Schools, to a low of $37,718 for a starting teacher in Peoria. But in the fall of this year, the state of Illinois will adopt a $40,000 per year minimum for entry level for primary grade teachers in public schools in Illinois. So it's just going to be a little bit higher for you folks in Peoria. And yes, the highest paid base rate for a teacher in the state of Illinois, and you know who you are, is over $202,000, while the lowest in a remote part of the state where you don't even have a full-time schedule is just over $30,000 for a starting rate. So there's a gap between starting rate and the highest possible rate, but there's also a gap between one area and another for the same amount of experience. There's a reality check we need to add at this point, because in those different districts in the state of Illinois where there is a lower or higher pay scale available to you, there is also a cap. That is, there's also going to be a point that you cannot exponentially move beyond. You're not going to become a millionaire annually by teaching in any public school anywhere in the world. Okay. But you can always add on extracurricular activities, maybe be a coach on one of the sporting teams, or add a club after school, or add an administrative responsibility. And that means that you're back to working multiple jobs. You have your full-time job and you work a part-time job on the side for the school district. So yeah, you can incrementally increase your income, but you're stuck back to saving, back to trading your free time for a little extra cash. Now, there's one more reality check here, and that is you could also take your skill set that you've acquired, maybe your licensure that you have in one area, and you could do a career crossover move with transferable skills. And in today's market, with changing job descriptions and requirements, transferable skills is one of the most valuable elements of your self-awareness you can have. The things that you have in one career path, how they can become part of success in another career path. Let me use this as an example, something that I've experienced, and that is I've worked for a lot of my adult life in the nonprofit sector. And we know that there is a difference between what you're paid for doing the same kind of work in a for-profit sector versus a nonprofit sector. The same job in a for-profit or nonprofit, everything from copywriting, marketing, accounting, administration, custodian, yes, you name it, there is a difference. Now, at the lower end of the pay scale, say an entry-level job, like a custodian working in a nonprofit or a for-profit, there's really not much difference because minimum wage is still minimum wage. But at higher level, at higher skill set, at higher career path opportunities, nonprofits pay on average less, about $5 an hour, for example. Average at 2080 to 2,080 hours in the average work year for most people. That means that it's a little over $10,000 difference between a pay gap in the nonprofit doing the same work in a for-profit context. So there is that pay gap to consider. But if you don't want to cross over to another career, if you don't want to work those extra jobs, but you want to make more doing the same job you're doing today, you need to consider a move, a geographic move. And the highest paying move is from a rural or small city market to a major metropolitan area in your state or any state nearby. This increase in salary comes at a cost, the cost of living. The cost of living difference between rural and metropolitan areas sometimes is significant. And if you live in a rural or small town setting and you look at the cost of housing and food and transportation and the time it takes you to get from your home to your workplace and back again, it can be overwhelming. And that's why you need to use an available tool like NerdWallet's cost of living calculator and just punch in what it costs on average to live in whatever city you're considering making a move to see whether or not the pay increase you'll receive by doing the same job in a city, in a major metropolitan area, whether or not the cost of living to make that move will equal to, or at least compensate for, will break even with the more amount of money you're going to make in that area. For example, moving from Akron, Ohio to Cleveland, Ohio, just 40 miles away, there's a significant not only pay increase, but cost of living increase. If you start a new job in Cleveland, moving from Akron, you need to be making at least $5,600 more just to break even. And housing costs in Cleveland are 38% higher than they are in Akron, and that's going to eat into most of the pay increase you'll get by moving to Cleveland. Now, you can also use another online tool like Indeed.com's search for salary, and that is just to figure out what it is that the average person in a certain role in that job, that one job that you want to have and work and earn your income from, how much it makes in different markets. Now, if you look at something simple like a mortgage loan officer with 1 year experience, still an entry-level position in most markets, and you search for cities you'd like to live in or that are nearby, you'll see the differences, like searching for Cleveland as a top-paying market for the same job, same experience. Orlando, you'll start at about $133,000, whereas Cleveland, you'll be at just over $68,000 for doing the same job in a different market. So if you're frustrated doing your job but not getting paid as much as someone who works in a different market, then consider a move. But be sure that the cost of living of making that move will not eat into all the wage increases, and you'll be effectively making the same amount of money. But a move is still one of the best opportunities to do one job, not have to give away your free time, and to make more money doing what you're doing today. And thanks for being part of the Do-Over Show. Please, could you tap the like button because it really helps. And while you're down there, how about you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. I'm so glad you found me and I found you. Thanks.